There's 3 questions with Rich Czyz. I got it. I get it. I get it. All right. Awesome. Hey, so I'm really excited to talk to you, Rich, to have this conversation. And you actually just have a new book out. It's called Rogue Leader. And the subtitle is Make the Rules, Inspire Others, and Take Control of Your Own Professional Development Destiny. Now, we're going to talk more about that in a second. We're going to get to the 3 questions. But actually, can you just kind of give the 30-second trailer to your new book so people can learn about it?
Yeah, so Rogue Leader is all about professional development being a dirty word in education and how we change that perception. We want to build PD systems that work for and with teachers instead of PD being done to teachers. So Rogue Leader is all about how to take charge and inspire others.
Yeah, I know. If anyone ever said professional development when I was in school, we suspended them right away. Dirty word. Okay, absolutely. Yeah, like a lot of people are like kind of grown at it too. I actually, you can tell a lot when, obviously I go lots of schools and districts, and it tells me something when I go into a school or district and it's my first time there, and like they're in an auditorium and everyone sits as far away as possible because you can tell they're like, another day that's gonna suck, right? And I get it, right? I've been there too. I've been that person as well. So I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in this. But let's get to your 3 questions. Rich is a principal at Yardville Elementary in New Jersey. And so when you're talking about professional development, you work with teachers all the time. So when you think about your own educational career, whether it's a student, a colleague, who is a teacher that inspired you and why?
So the number 1 person on my list has to be Trevor Bryan. He and I started our career together. We actually were both hired in a new district. I was hired as a brand new teacher. He was hired as in his second job, and he was moving districts at the time. But they did a little bus tour for us in the district, which was kind of neat. And he and I ended up sitting next to each other, just got to talking, and come to find out he was the art teacher for my 5th grade students where I was teaching 5th grade. Oh. And we just hit it off from there. And he is someone that has inspired me every day since. So he really challenges me to kind of, change my thinking, really challenge my growth as an educator.
So like, where is Trevor now? Where is he?
So he's still in the district where we were originally hired. It's Jackson Township in New Jersey. But we still talk almost every day, whether it's through Voxer or text message or phone. So it's something where we've been able to continue that relationship and keep each other growing.
Yeah, and that's such a great opportunity when we have those connections with colleagues that push our thinking, right? And I think for me, one of the things that I love is having like some conversations, kind of challenging each other, and it does not just saying like, oh, you're doing awesome, right? Like having some of that, but also like pushing each other's thinking. So Trevor Bryan, if you are listening. Shout out from Rich here. So you're currently a principal right now, and you talked about obviously in your book, Rogue Leader, about professional development. And so obviously you've worked with a lot of administrators, side by side. You've worked for them. So when you think of an administrator that really inspired you, who's someone you think of and why?
Yeah, so the person that has inspired me as an administrator is Jay Billy, and he is also a principal in New Jersey. Where I work. He's in a neighboring district to us, but he is someone that shows me exactly what a principal needs to be. Someone that inspires the culture in his building, in his previous building, now in his new building. And, he inspires families and students and teachers to just be better. And I love, just seeing what he's up to through Twitter. Every once in a while we get to talk at Coffee EDU, and he comes out and we get to chat about what he's doing, what's new, and how he again is just pushing culture within his building.
I actually saw Jay literally just last week, so it was good to see him because it's been a while since I've started to see some people that I've connected with on Twitter in person, which is really nice. And what is fascinating, and maybe I don't know if I should be saying this, but he inspires culture, and but he didn't say the last little while has been easy either. Do you know what I mean? Like he's very realistic with it as well.
Yeah, it's been tough, and I know I've had some conversations with him. Just talking about logistics and when we were coming back to school, how we were bringing kids back, and what we were going to be able to do within the building, just to get kids back and learning and how we were going to do it. So he is very realistic, but like I said, always motivating and always optimistic as well.
Yeah, and I think for me that's the power of that, right? It's not pretending that negative things don't exist, but it's always finding that solution. And so, Jay, if you are listening, Bill, I'm going to give you a double shout out for both me and Rich, because thanks for inspiring us to conversation. So, all right, this is the last question, Rich, and you've written, this is the Rogue Leader is not your first book; it's actually the third one. So you are like, whatever, you just bored being a principal, so obviously you're just hiding away and writing books all day, right? Like, crazy that how much you're churning out. But you go back and you look at your career, and you kind of mentioned a little bit about your first year. If you can go back and talk to yourself in your first year of teaching, what advice would you give to yourself and why?
The one piece of advice I would give to any new teacher, and it's the same thing that was told to me on my first day by my mentor, Sue. She said, every decision that you ever make needs to be in the best interest of children. And, I took that to heart the first day that she told me that. And I've tried to live by that. It's not always easy, because you're a lot of times as a building principal, you're making decisions that are competing, have
Right.
competing interests. So, I always try to make those decisions in the best interest of children. And, there's sometimes where a teacher won't like a decision that I made. There's sometimes where a parent won't like a decision that I made. Certainly times when students don't like decisions that I made.
Right.
But again, my goal is to always make that in the best interest of children. So, for any new teacher, I think that's an important piece. As long as you go in there every day doing your best for children, I think that's all we can ask of new teachers.
You brought up a really interesting point, because I think sometimes when people say, like, we got to do what's best for kids and things like that, I think the misconception is that kids will always be happy with what those decisions are, right? And I, as a dad, I make decisions that my kids hate, right? Sometimes, but I know it's best. I'm really big on student voice and think of how important it is, but I'm also big on, I'm probably a bit smarter than my 5-year-old, and sometimes I have to make decisions that she doesn't necessarily like, but will benefit her in the long term. And I would love to say I'm right 100% times, and I'm sure you'd like to say that too. But that's part of the learning process. We do the best with the knowledge that we have at that moment. It doesn't mean people, and that includes kids, will always agree with us. So I think that's a pretty important point. So, Rich, has been awesome to just sit down and talk to you. I'm looking forward to talking more about your new book, Rogue Leader. But please, anyone who's listening, make sure you give Rich a follow. You'll see his Twitter handle down in the description down below, and you'll see a link to his new book. So, Rich, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for listening.